All right, good evening, everyone. Just wish you can hear me. In case you cannot see me, we are trying to do some work with our audio and our video cameras and all the things. And unfortunately, we are struggling to get people to stream live on YouTube and Instagram to see us. So we deeply apologize. So because I need to manage our time, we need to quickly run. As soon as the technical guys get it, then we'll go live on video. So thank you everyone who have made out the time to be here this evening. I will run very quickly with our slides and I'll tell us a bit more as we progress on what this is all about. My name is Stanley Eluwa, and most of you who are on this call would know me, and those who don't know me, as we progress today, you will get to know me. All right. So today we will be looking and discussing managing and measuring your performance for success. This is just a bit about my background. I'll share that with you guys as we go. I've been in HR for several years. I've spent several years of doing business and organizational strategy, HR strategy, business partnering, and all the gamut of HR as a whole. I have done from learning and talent management to all the bits around how we attract talents, retain talents, develop talents, manage their performance. Today I'm privileged to be the head of human resources for Suntory Beverage and Food Nigeria Limited. Generally in life, my focus is I do more of reading. I'm a speaker certified by Deloitte to speak and facilitate workshops. I am an associate of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management of Nigeria, SHRM certified, and HRMP from Human Resource Institute. The last two are from the US. I've worked in a couple of multinational companies, from MTN to PZ Cousins as regional head of talent for Africa. And then today I work with Suntory, the third largest beverage company in the world, as the head of human resources. So I'll go from here very quickly. This just summarizes my core competencies. I do strategy, HR management, talent management, and capability development. If you want to know more, we can chat about this much later. So ground rules as we progress, everyone should please participate confidential. We're going to keep confidences here as much as possible. Everything we stay here will stay here. I'll be sharing some examples. We should keep them here. Ask questions as much as you can. Use the chat box to ask your questions. Questions cannot be asked. You cannot unmute to ask your questions. Just use the chat box to ask your questions. Please keep your mics mute. We'll try to mute everyone. So please, we ask you to keep your mics mute so that we don't disturb other people who are going to join the session. And as much as possible, have fun in this session today. So Moments with Stanley, what do we do? This is very simple. What we do is basically to give or support people who want to really grow their careers and build a successful life. So our focus is more around building leadership capabilities and competencies, coaching and empowering people with the skills and competencies to build a great career life. And then if you are trying to become successful in life, yes, we are here to give you that support to show you some of the key skills you require to be successful in life, irrespective of what you do. So we coach and mentor people across different areas of life and professions, from both those who do the white collar, the blue collar jobs. We coach across and we support people in their development. Now, these masterclasses, these sessions are free sessions which will run once every month for everyone. And we are hoping that at some point we'll run some masterclasses. Masterclasses will be weekend sessions where we will spend 3 or 4 hours and deal with a topic. During the masterclasses, I will be sharing with you clearly case studies. I'll be sharing with you tools. I will be going deeper into the subjects because you would agree with me that 1 hour cannot cut this conversation. But I just felt that we should start something, and as we start, we will progress in the course of we'll progress in the course of all of these, and maybe progress this into some major master classes. Now for today, because our time is fast spent, we will be looking at 4 key elements of managing your performance and getting better as an individual. So we'll be looking at developing the business case for managing performance. Why is this even important? That's the question. So Stanley, why are you bringing us together to talk about managing performance? And I'll move from there. I'll talk about defining clear performance expectations. So, which is one of the biggest things. The biggest gap in managing performance is your ability to define clear performance expectations. And I'll move from there to looking at how we determine appropriate performance behaviors that would help enable the kind of performance that we want to see. And then finally, I will talk a bit about the culture of accountability. Let me also share this caveat. Everything we're doing in 1 hour is just going to be tips, and I will try and hit the things on the nail on the head as much as possible, like they say. And I would be expecting as well that for every one of you, if there are core areas you would like me to address, put them in the question area, and then we'll pick it up from there. Okay? All right. So let me ask you a question. What would you like to learn about this course? What would make this program useful for you? Okay, if there's anything, please put it in the comment section, and I will pick it up from the comment section. Okay, I'll pick it up from the comment section if there's anything that you would like me to know of that will make this program more useful for you. And then I want to know, what are the 3 things that you would like to take away from this workshop? So please go to the chat button and tell me 3 things you would like to take away from this workshop. And as you write them, I'll make notes of them so that I can address them as we progress in the session. What are the 3 things you want to take away from this session? What are the 3 things you would like Stanley to address in today's session? Please, I am waiting for you at the chat corner to see what the 3 things would be for you. What do you want to take away from this session today? What do you want to take away? All right, you have 2 minutes, you have 2 minutes, you have 2 minutes. Let's go for it. What do you want to take away from this session today? What would you like Stanley to specifically address, as it has to do with how I manage my performance and how I become successful in life? Bearing in mind that we will be talking about this from both the corporate world, and I will try as much as possible to backpedal and talk to people who may not be in the corporate world at the moment, but they want to be successful in life. I would address everybody in the next couple of minutes, hopefully 45 minutes, 50 minutes, and then I will take your questions and we'll make progress. What do you want to take away from this session? I'm waiting. What will make this session meaningful for you? All right, I'm waiting. Somebody says, want to learn special attitudes that will enhance my performance as I begin my career. Who else is coming forward? What do you want to learn? Why I'm asking this question is so that I can tailor my conversations to your specific needs. I don't want to just talk generally. I want to focus it at your specific needs. All right, so I will just progress, and as we get perfect. So we're going. I hear we are also live on YouTube now. I hear we are live on YouTube. So if you are on YouTube, you can follow us on YouTube. You can listen to us on YouTube. The IT guys are trying to make this a lot better for us. All right, so Stanley will continue now. Now, I usually start every training I hold with this quote. It says that I hated every minute of training But I said to myself, don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion. How many of us know the face that we are seeing there? That's the face of the big brother, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali has said, he hated every minute of training. I can imagine how tough it will be for you to rush home from work because you want to be part of this training. I know how much you would have struggled to get data and ensure you are part of this training. Trust me, it could be something you hate, but Muhammad Ali says that champions are made in the place where training happens. It is by personal development and investment that you make in yourself that you become a champion. So I will be excited as much as possible to have everyone here as much as possible. Take out as much as you can. It's a free session, and I'm sharing, and I'm going to pour out my heart in this session to make it successful. Okay. Someone once said that you either go through life by design or by default. Okay, so guys, you can either go through life by design or by default. By design means that you can decide to craft the kind of success that you want to see in your life. Or you can decide to say, okay, I go by default, whatever I see, I get. So if my managers promote me, I get promoted. If business is successful, then I take it. If it's not successful, I take it. That's what default means. But what we want to do today is to teach you how to go through life by design, how to go through life by design. We want you to get to a point where you can predict your success. We want to get to a point where, as you live here today, I want you to be able to say, yes, I now understand what it takes to become successful in life. What it takes to become, to drive results, the kind of results I want to see, and I achieve them. How I can hold myself and others accountable, and then I decide that, yes, I want to aim and achieve X, Y targets by the end of the year, and I get it. That is what it means to go through life by design. Otherwise, 2020 will end for you like every other year. That is what it means to say you have gone through life by default. Guys, your life is not something you want to play around with. As much as possible, let's give attention to discuss today and see how we can design our lives for success. Someone says that I would love to learn the keys for making a business stand the test of time. Somebody says I would love to learn to properly position myself as a strategic HR professional and not well-experienced HR operation, I'm not an HR operational person. That's fine. Okay. So I can imagine what you're trying to say. You don't want to be just a HR operational person. You want to be strategic. What I would say about that is that this course in 1 hour will not make you strategic, or will not go into the depths of performance management, but we'll try and address some of the key elements as we progress in this course today. So the first module will be talking about developing a business case for managing and measuring performance. So why are we here? That's what this is talking about. Why do we need to talk about how we manage and how we measure our performance? And I'll tell you why this is important. Please listen attentively and follow me on this journey. You need to understand why this is important for you, important for your organization, and important for your business. It is important you understand this, okay? So, a business case. Gallup is an American analytics company, and what they do is to do researches, okay, across the world around certain areas. And Gallup came up with some research findings that I want to share with you in a few minutes. They said that one of their researches has shown that only 1 in 2 employees clearly know what is expected from them. So sometimes we wonder why people are not performing optimally. One of the big reasons is that people don't even know what the expectations are. I'm sure some of us here, if I were to ask you, what is your business strategy for the year, you may not be able to say. I'm sure if I were to ask some of you, what are the expectations do the people who work for you in your teams, in your company, in your environment, in your churches, do they know what the real expectation is of them? Gallup research says that 50% of people don't even know. So how do they achieve what they do not know? That's a big concern, and that's why this is important today. Gallup also said that 74% of employees still receive a review as frequently as once a year. So even in situations where people even know and they know what is expected of them, Gallup is saying that they have discovered that most of the people who even know don't get feedback whether they are doing well or not. We realize that, Gallup is saying that we have realized that people at the beginning of the year have objectives or they set goals for themselves, but they do not review those goals. Line managers don't sit with their direct reports to say, come, let me see how you are doing and see how I support you to become successful. We as individuals who set our goals, on the 1st of January 2020, I set a goal I want to achieve. I want to read 10 books in this year. This is half year gone. Have you spent some time to ask yourself, how well have I done with this? How often do you sit to review your performance or review the performance of the people who work for you? This is one reason why performance is not working and people are not getting results. And then I also added myself, I said, managers are not clear what they really want from employees. Expectations are not clear. So guys, what we are saying here is that if people are not clear what is expected of them, they may not be able to deliver on what they do not know anything about. I read another book called What Really Works. And in this book, they said something very important that is very instructive as well. They said 15% of a company's performance is attributable to the strategy of the company, 15%. So trust me, all those work that you go with your business leaders to a retreat somewhere, you lock yourselves in the retreat environment, you stay 3 days and you come back, only contributes 15% of the success to the success of the business. You write a big vision. The vision of my organization is to achieve XYZ by the end of 2020. As good as that vision, it cannot execute itself. And the book is saying that only that vision gives you 15% chances that you will succeed. That you are going to open a big shop somewhere and you have said, this shop, I have put this kind of product and that kind of product because I want to achieve this kind of success, and that kind of success does not necessarily mean that you can achieve that much if you don't do certain things that will enable the performance to happen. So 15% is strategy, but if people perform adequately within the organization, 85% of success can happen. So we need to understand that some organizations today are not just looking for people with large CVs. I have seen people come to me with great CVs and large CVs. That's not what businesses are looking for today. Organizations are looking for people, leaders are looking for people who can drive and deliver results, who can perform and achieve the extraordinary. It is beyond. I've got X years of experience. It is beyond. I have got Y years of knowledge and skill in a certain area. It is beyond your first degree. It is beyond whatever it is. It is about how well you are able to drive and execute within the organization. There's something we call the hypers in the organization. People who get promoted are high-performing people. That's what hyper means. High-performing employees. How do you become a high-performing employee? That's what we are here to do today. And trust me, some of you may be asking, I have worked for several years, I don't get promoted. I have worked for several years, I don't get my bonuses paid. The reason also it may be because you are not in the high-performing bracket of the organization. As I move on from here, I want to say to you, that you can almost succeed in anything in life once you can set the right parameters to track and measure how you are performing, and you have the courage to hold yourself and everybody around you accountable for the kind of results that you want to see. It takes a bit of courage to say, I tell myself, I want to achieve X, Y, Z results, and I'm going to hold myself accountable for those results. And if there are people around me who are stakeholders, who are colleagues, who are peers, who are line managers, I also have the courage to hold them accountable for the kind of results I want to see from them. Guys, this is the only way we can begin to drive the kind of performance that we want to see. So this is just an introduction. I want to say this as I move on. Someone once said that it is only what gets done. It is only what gets measured that gets done. So managing and measuring your performance is important, because if you don't measure, it will not be done. Especially for those of us who are line managers here. If you don't measure it, it will not get done. Even for yourself, if you don't have the time in life where you pause, measure yourself, appraise yourself, you will not be able to make progress with your goals. And guess what? What gets rewarded? So if you reward a certain performance and behavior, that performance will be repeated over and over. So let's look at how we define clear performance expectations. This will be the first element. How do we define clear performance expectations? Now, what is performance management in the first place? Let's start from there. To start with, what is performance management? Performance management simply says, or simply means, a continuous process. I wish I was in class now. I would have asked you to repeat the word continuous process. It is not a one-off process. It is not a process that you do at the beginning of the year and then you set performance goals or you set certain objectives and you do not follow through. It is a continuous process that must happen every day, must happen every week, must happen every month, must happen every half year, must happen at the end of every year. The idea is to say, this performance target that we have set, let's measure and see how well we have done this week. Let's measure and see how well we have done this month. Let's measure and see how well we have done in the last 3 months. Let's measure and see how well we have done in the last 6 months. And then at the end of the year, we want to see if we have achieved our targets. It's a continuous process. It doesn't happen at the beginning of the year and we wait till the end of the year for the next one to happen. It happens on a continuous basis. And someone would ask me, why is it important to do that on a continuous and ongoing basis? So I give you an example. I give you a simple example that would help answer that question. Assuming you are a sales manager and you have been asked to deliver 1.2 million in 2020, in the year 2020. So that's an average of 100,000 every month. Okay, at the end of the first month, you delivered 80,000 naira. At the end of the second month, you delivered 30,000 naira. And at the end of the third month, you delivered maybe 40,000 naira. So for 3 months, you did not achieve your target. If you pause in January to quickly check with that employee and see how you support the employee, there is a huge likelihood that that employee can improve because you are trying to support him early in the journey, and then they get better as they go. But if you have to wait till the end of the year and then you see all the mess and then realize that the guy has not even achieved even 500,000 in the whole year, the end of the year is the wrong time to measure performance. Performance should be measured from the time it was set. It can be on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, depending on what is convenient. And then the person gets regular feedback and succeeds. Understand me, if you are here and you run your private business, maybe you're not a multinational person and you run a private business, you have some boys you have gone to bring from Onitsha and you have put them in your shop and you have told them that they're going to go into sales and drive sales for you. If you set targets for them, it is important that you bring them back every week, every month and review with them. If you are here as a line manager and you manage people in your team, and you have set performance targets and goals for them at the beginning of the year, it is important that at the end of every week or at the end of every month, you call them back and have conversations with them. Traditionally in the past, performance reviews are done mid-year and end of year. That was in the past. And that's why organizations are struggling today to see the kind of success that they want to see. I need to move on from here. I mean, when we do the masterclass, I'll spend time to talk a bit more and share with you tools that would help you do more in this place. Now, what are objectives, and why is it important to define expectations? See, objective simply means the results you want to see delivered. An objective is like I would describe it as a goal you have set. So this is a goal. I want to buy a car by the end of December 2020. That's a goal. That's an objective that you have set. It's the result that you really want to see. And you then say, okay, how then do I achieve that? I'm going to come to that as we progress. So defining objectives and expectations are important because they describe or they put a picture to the kind of success and results that you want to see. They speak to specific outcomes that the individual must achieve, and they are connected to your role and your responsibility. So what is a goal? Like I said, objectives are goals. So what is a goal? A goal is a desired future, is the kind of result you want to see, is the outcome you want to achieve, is a dream that has got a deadline. So guys, if you run a business here, or you manage people in your team, or you work for an organization and you don't have clear goals, I am sorry, it will be very difficult for you to be a high-performing person. Because what makes you high-performing is that you can sit back and say, I had this goal set and I achieved the goal, or I exceeded the expectation on that goal. If you don't have anything you are measuring yourself against, trust me, you are going to remain as an ordinary person. Extraordinary people measure themselves against great goals. Extraordinary people measure themselves against mighty goals. Someone once said to me, throw your hat over the bar. There must be a bar you have set for yourself. You throw your hat over the bar, and then every part of your body will then follow. So that's very important for us to understand, setting goals. So it's important for us as individuals to set goals. So why is goal setting very important? I want to run very quickly. Someone said here, Pablo, he said something about objectives. And he said that our business goals and objectives can only be reached through a plan. So we need to set goals. We need to set a plan to enable us achieve the results. I think one of the biggest problems I have seen people struggle with, line managers, business owners, business MDs, is that sometimes we have goals, but we don't have clear plans on how we want to achieve them. We have goals, but there are no clear plans on how we want to achieve them. It is also like somebody saying that I want to build a house, but there's no clarity about how you want to set your first brick, how you want to set your foundation, how many rooms you want to have in the house. So there's no plan. What the architect does for you is to help you translate your goal, your vision into a plan. And for you as an individual that runs a business, that manages employees, that want to be successful, you must move from just having visions and objectives and goals to having a plan that will enable you achieve your goals and your objectives. Now, let me show you what we mean by setting goals and objectives. I mean, SMART goals, I want to talk about goals being smart. SMART goals are goals that are specific. Let me show you something very quickly before I come to this. Okay? See, goals, for them to be reasonable, they must be specific and smart. Being smart means that they must be specific, measurable, achievable, and realistic and timely. What does it mean to be specific? Being specific means that you can tell clearly what it is. It is not vague. You cannot say that I want to read, in 2020, I want to read books. That's not specific. But if you say something like, I want to read 5 leadership books in a year, it becomes specific and you can measure it at that point. So goals must be specific if you want to be somebody who is able to achieve results. Otherwise, you would dance around in circles and you would not have the kind of results you want to see. 2020 will go like every other year and you will not see the kind of results that you want to see. Goals must be measurable. If I say I want to read 5 books in a year, can I measure when I have done that or not? Yes, I can measure that because they are measurable. I can tell if I want to achieve 5 books in a year, I would tell when I have done 3 books. I would tell when I have 2 books left. So if they are not measurable, you cannot tell whether you are being successful or not. So if you set goals for yourself and for the people who work for you in your organization, you should be able to tell when they are being successful or not. You should be able to know when your business is being successful or is not being successful. More so, goals must be achievable. So don't put your hand where you cannot reach. That's how it is with being realistic. It should be achievable. So it should be something that is within the control of your business environment. It should be something that is within the resources, the skills, and the opportunities available to you. Don't say you want to buy a car worth 20 million naira when your salary is just 50,000 naira. It's not realistic. Don't come and say that I want to build a mansion when you know that the money you have cannot even build a 1-bed self-contained. So also for the business that you run, make it achievable and realistic. And the biggest part of it is the T that says it must be time bound. So I want to achieve it by this time. See, when you set a timeline and you set a specific deadline on a goal, the good thing it does for you is that it puts you on your toes if you are somebody who likes to hold himself accountable. So I know that I want to achieve X by the end of July 2020. By the time it's 2 weeks to the end of July, you're already getting under pressure if you have not achieved 50% of what you are looking for. So it becomes a challenge for you and you want to run very fast because you know your time is not, the time is not your friend. So let's look at examples of SMART goals. How do I set SMART goals? So let's look at that now very quickly. To set SMART goals, let's look at the first example on the top right corner or top left corner. You will see an example of goals that are not SMART. I want to improve customer service in my company. That makes no sense. What does customer service mean? Are you talking about how we interact with customers on the phone? Or are you talking about how we sell our goods to our customers? You need to be specific. Somebody says, if you look at the last one, my goal is to read books. That's not specific. What kind of books? How many books? By when do you want to finish reading the books? Those goals are not specific. So when you are setting goals for yourself as a business or as an individual, make them smart and specific. And I'll show you a few examples of smart and specific goals. Like I said, when we do the masterclass, we'll give you some tools to help you do these things. Smart and specific goals. An example is to reduce department overhead cost by 15% by Q4. or by December 2020. So you see that it's specific. It speaks to what percentage we want to reduce overhead costs. So you can measure when you have achieved it. You will know when you have done 15% or 20% or even less by doing 10%. You can measure it. But trust me, if it is, and you can also tell by December if you have achieved it or not. But if you leave it open-ended, it can run for 10 years and nobody would achieve that goal. That's why some of us who have planned to make savings and investments cannot save and invest, because we didn't set smart goals. You want to build a house, you've not been able to build your house for 5-6 years today because you didn't set smart goals. You've not said, to what extent must I finish by the end of December 2020? By what year and time do I want to finish the entire project? You want to deliver on a certain project, there's no timeline. And what you discover happen most of the time is that you then see people sleep on projects year on year, month on month, time after time, and we don't have results. And for those of us who are businessmen, I'll put another example for you there. If you're not in the corporate world and you are a business person, I have put another example for you. It says to achieve 100,000 Naira sales on Gucci shoes by the end of Q1. So you sell different kind of shoes. But you know what? I want to set goals because I want to sell Gucci shoes. I want to achieve 100,000 Naira sales on Gucci shoes by the end of Q1. You're making it now very specific. And then we will then talk about how do we move from being specific with our objectives to achieving those objectives and making them become results or translating them to performance for ourselves, for our organizations and our teams. Another one says to read 4 books by the end of October 2020. That's how to make this specific. 4 leadership books. So you are specific about the number of books, the type of books, and by when you want to achieve those, achieve that goal and that objective. Okay? So I move from here very quickly, and I'll talk about, there are different types of goals or objectives. There are goals and objectives that you set within a short-term period. So I've used 3 different kinds of windows to describe the types of goals. The first window is the short-term goal. The short-term goal happens between 0 to 12 months. So for instance, if I say I want to read 10 books in 2020, by the end of December 2020, it's a short-term goal. I may decide to also set a medium-term goal where I say that I want to achieve maybe I want to maybe buy a car in 3 years, or I want to move my business in 3 years. I want to grow my business by 15% over the next 3 years. That's a short-term goal. Or you can say for the long term, I want to move from 1 branch to 20 branches in 5 years. Those are long-term goals. So you can break your goals into any of these windows, and then the principles we'll be talking about in class today would help you as an individual to begin to inch and work towards how you achieve those goals and translate them from being mere goals to becoming results. Okay, so some tips on goal setting. Please take note of these tips as we close out on goal setting. Make them smart. I've spoken about this, so I'm not going to spend time here anymore. Secondly, don't set too many goals. Don't set too many goals. I read the book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution. If you want to be a great person at achieving your goals, please learn to read books on execution. So I read this book, The 4 Disciplines of Execution, and I learned something that threw a light bulb on in my mind. Before now, I could have as many as 5 goals, 10 goals, and so on. And they said something in this book. They said, based on research, that the number of goals you have determines the level to which you are able to achieve those goals. For instance, research showed from this book that when you have between 11 to 20 goals, the chances that you would achieve any of them is little or nothing. Which means that you're trying to become a jack of too many trades and a master of none. So you are chasing too many things at the same time, and you may not be able to achieve even one of them because your attention is divided. In fact, when I read this book, another light that went up in my mind was that I learned as well that you cannot multitask. That hit me because I know that as HR people, I'm checking the table here. Let's have a conversation after now. One of the things I learned is we always hear that if you cannot multitask, we will not hire you. Guys, it is a bloody lie. Stanley Eluwa says that you cannot multitask. I'm not saying that you cannot do a few things at the same time, but trust me. Let me give you a small example. You are trying to craft a mail. Can you craft an email, a good worded email, and be on the phone at the same time? You will struggle. You will struggle. You will struggle. Tell me that you can punch and type a long WhatsApp chat while you are driving and your hands are on the wheels at the same time. You will struggle with errors and everything on it. So let's not deceive ourselves with this multitasking thing. We can try to limit the number of things we are chasing at the same time so that we become effective. One of the next course I will do will be personal effectiveness, because I need to help us understand what it takes to be effective as individuals. A lot of us, the reason our results are not coming is because we are not being effective. Somebody has raised a hand. Please drop your questions in the chat box and I will pick it up from there. Thank you very much. And I'll come back to you very soon. So it says that if you have between 2 to 3 goals, the chances that you would achieve all the goals is even high, is 100%, because the goals are not too many. So the advice from this material is that we should try as much as possible not to set too many goals. That's the message. I'm not saying you shouldn't have up to 5 or more, but please don't make it too many. If you work in an organization where your objectives are 10, 20 objectives, that is dead on arrival. That is something you will struggle to achieve. Don't worry, we will talk about this. I will go into what we call the widely important goals when I do the masterclass in a couple of weeks and months from now. My team will tell us about this and how we're going to handle this, okay? Don't set too many goals. And then I'll move from there to say, write your goals down. Someone once said that the faintest ink is more powerful than the strongest memory. I know some of us here says we know we can keep too many things and we can be very good at keeping things. Guys, the faintest ink is more powerful than even the strongest memory. So as much as possible, when you set your goals, write them down, paste them somewhere, save them somewhere where you can hold yourself accountable. And if you can, share it with someone who you know you can look up to, who can hold you accountable. And then break your goals down. So you set the 5-year goal, you set the 3-year goal, you set the 1-year goal. Guys, those goals will not achieve themselves. How do we break them into doable chunks, smaller chunks that would help us achieve them? So the way I'll say it is this. See, I want to achieve my target in the organization. They say I should bring 1.2 million sales in a year. So I ask myself, how do I want to break them into the various months from January to December? So maybe I want to say 100,000 naira. I will focus on achieving 100,000 naira every month. That's one way to look at it. But being more realistic, you may want to ask yourself again. There are some businesses that are affected by seasons. For instance, I know people who are in the drinks business. During the rainy season like we are now, people don't buy drinks as such, cold drinks as such. So for seasons like this, you may want to put your targets at a low level and use the dry seasons at the seasons where you make more sales. Now you are becoming more realistic as you break your goals into doable chunks. I'm going to show you more about this in the future, but just understand that when you break goals into doable chunks, you are able to achieve them faster and better than when you leave them as a huge mountain before you. Usually when they are huge mountains, you are unable to climb them. See, and when you make them smaller chunks. Let me tell you why this is very important and good. As doable chunks, you can celebrate quick wins. So for instance, I want out of the 100,000 every month, in January, I was able to achieve 200,000. I take myself for a drink and I celebrate that. And then I tick off that 200,000 of the 1.2 million has been achieved. So you can celebrate and keep pushing yourself as you go. Okay? Fantastic. So somebody had a question. If you want to ask your question, I can allow you unmute yourself and ask your question in the course of this class. If you're ready, please just raise that hand again. Unmute yourself and ask your question, please. Now, I want us to practice how to set goals. So I'll go back very quickly to this place and I'll ask you to look at your goals again for 2020. It may be your objectives at work. It may be your business goal for those of us who run private businesses. What was your goal at the beginning of the year? Was it as smart as some of the goals we have said here now? If they are not, I will give you 2 minutes to rethink your goals and try to reset them so that we can start going to the last 2 modules of this session. Okay, and if you want to try and drop your ideas on the chat box for others to see, you can drop them. So let's try our hands and set some smart objectives now. 2 minutes. You've got 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go. Let's try. You can drop some messages and we'll pick them up. Anybody trying something? Smart objectives. You want to set your smart objectives. Let's try our hands. Maybe the objective was because you wanted to. If you wanted to build a house, you wanted to become stronger in your career or at work, you want to drive better performance at work or whatever it is, you have a huge opportunity now to try your hands on goal setting and objective setting. You can also share yours on this group chat and I'll look at it and help correct it if there's a need to correct. But I'll continue while I wait for the chats to come in. The third module says, how do we determine appropriate performance behaviors? One of the reasons why some of us are not excelling in our performance is the kind of behaviors that we have set for ourselves, or the kind of behaviors that we display. Maybe that's a better way to put it. I give you an example. I'll give you 2 examples, one from the corporate world and one from the private and the OMBs. OMB means one-man business or owner-managed business. You work in an organization where everybody praises you for your performance. They say you are a great person. Your results are mega. Your results are mega. They are big results. You are the guy who drives the numbers for the business. In fact, sometimes without you in a meeting, things can go sour. But you know what? Everybody runs away from you because you don't know how to communicate or speak to people. Emotional intelligence is 0. Trust me, I have seen several people whose careers have crashed because of that attitude and behavior. Hear this. I like you to understand this. You can only go as far as your attitude can take you. Take this from me, you can only go as far as your attitude can take you. I have seen people who have been stunted on the career ladder, not because they are not good, but because their careers are poor. In fact, I have seen high-performing employees exited from companies because of poor performance. I have had to exit high-performing employees from organizations because of their bad and poor behaviors. All right, so it's important that we look at our behaviors. And for those of us who are in our private businesses, let me give you this example. I'm trying to balance the conversation here today. So somebody comes to you to buy a product from you. And then because the person did not, while you were haggling the price, the person did not bargain well, and then you insult the person. That person could leave you, but trust me, it is one customer you have lost, and that one customer could mean 1,000 customers, could mean 1,000,000 customers, especially in these days of technology. One person goes on Facebook or goes on Twitter, and they take the picture of your logo and they place it there and say, this is the worst place to ever buy something, because they will insult you for coming to patronize them. You will lose customers because of the wrong behaviors. So some of us, that's the problem that we are struggling with today. Someone said, Jen Nelson said, what we do is never as important as how we do it. HR people in this class, please listen to me. I'd like to share this, my personal perspective. See, if you still run the 70%, 30% performance model, you are not running the right model. Because most of the time, 70% speaks to what we do and 30% speaks to how we do it. The what and the how, trust me, must be equal. I hear managers tell their subordinates, go and deliver the results. I don't care how you deliver it. Trust me, if they have to crush people's scores to bring results to you, your organization will struggle and suffer for it. So the way we deliver the results and the results we deliver in themselves are equally as important. And everywhere I have worked, one of the things I have done is to try and ensure that I balance that. So if you are a great performer and your behaviors are poor, you will not get a high rating. You will not get high bonuses. You will not get the promotion. Usually, we will pull you down until we help you improve on your behaviors and yourself as an individual. There must be a right balance between both of them, okay? We can talk about that a lot more. In fact, I'm going to talk about the skill wheel matrix during the masterclass. Look out for that masterclass, because during the skill wheel matrix, I will tell you how high-performing employees are not growing in their careers because of that tool. It will show you why most of us as employees are either not growing or not able to get the right jobs, because our skills are high, but our behaviors, our will or our behaviors are very poor. Okay? We'll look at that. So I have said this, what and how. As much as possible, we must balance them. The way we deliver the results, and the results we deliver in themselves must be equally as important. So in terms of skill and will, is your skill high and your will low? Are you one of those who you know how to do it, but you will insult everybody and every colleague around you in the process of doing it? So your skill and will must find the right balance. And I'll show you how we do this when we have this conversation during the other sessions. Now, we'll talk about driving the culture of accountability as I bring this to a close. If you have any question, please send your questions to the chat box. I will pick them up on the chat box as we progress. The culture of accountability. I read the book as well called No Excuses by Brian Tracy. If you haven't read that book, please find that book and try to read it. It says that as individuals, we must hold ourselves responsible for a higher standard than anyone else expects of you. So listen, if you want to be a high-performing person, don't wait until somebody is chasing you, or until your line manager is chasing you, or until they give you a query. Hold yourself, once you are given a task or given an assignment, hold yourself responsible for a high standard of performance than anyone else will expect of you. If everybody excuse themselves and are even making excuses for you, do not excuse yourself. Never pity yourself. Be the hard master of yourself and be lenient to everyone else. Trust me, the most important thing is how we drive the right results, okay? Okay? I'll take some of those questions on the other channels as we go. Somebody is asking, can we share the training materials or the materials we have here? Yes, we can share on request, even though the materials are going to be confidential, but we'll share as much as we can and PDF and push to those who we know we can share this with, okay? As much as possible. So if you register with us and you are on our platform, like our page, follow us, and then we can share our materials with you. We must change. See, learn this. You must learn this. You must learn to, when bad things happen, resist the urge within you to blame somebody else. Instead, hold yourself totally accountable. You know, find something about that challenge that you must fix to progress rather than trading blames with anybody else on the team. It says instead, find something you can do to fix the problem instead of going about and going everywhere and trading blames. We must change. We must hold ourselves accountable. Your business did not succeed. It's not because of your father. It's not because of your mother. That your business is not, that your performance is not growing. It's not because your line manager does not like your face. Some people will say, my line manager doesn't like me. That is the reason why my business is not growing, my performance is not growing. That's not true. I know that there are cases where we have managers who go overboard. But trust me, no line manager will be a terror to good work. If you deliver results and you make your managers proud, 90% of the time, your managers will be behind you. Okay, so that's important. Please remember to fill our evaluation form before we're rounding up, before we round up. We're going to share based on your connection with us around all our platforms. So we're going to share materials with you. Please fill evaluation. We would like to get your feedback and would also like you to like us on all our handles if you can, please. So hold yourself accountable first before you hold another person accountable. Don't blame another person. Ask yourself first, look within and ask yourself, what did I not do well? Before you begin to point your fingers at any other person within the team. Are there people above me I need to hold accountable? Is my manager not doing something right? Are there my stakeholders who are supposed to supply something, who did not supply it on time, and because of that, my performance is failing? Are there people who are vendors and suppliers that I need to hold accountable? Are there peers? Peers means people who work with you at the same level. Do I have colleagues that I need to hold responsible? Who I need to, so for instance, you may be in finance, and somebody in HR is asking you to approve a payment. And because you're not approving that payment, is impacting their performance. As the HR person, are there people in finance that you need to hold accountable for the kind of results that you want to see? So my team will share with you the evaluation forms. Pretty much soon you get access to the evaluation form. Please fill those forms as you get them. In fact, the evaluation form will be dropped on this link in few minutes, in the chat group in few minutes, and then you will have access to it. And then the people who report under you, your direct reports, as much as possible, hold them accountable for results. During the masterclass, we will do a case study called Who's Got the Monkey? That's a very important case study I would want to discuss with you about performance management. So on this note, I want to bring this to a close, and I want to take everybody's questions. If you've got questions at the moment, are there questions you want to bring to my attention? Okay, so are there any questions? So somebody is asking the question on a different channel. Somebody is asking, we have spoken about goal setting. After goal setting, what next? So I have said to you, after setting your goals, one thing that becomes important is how you move from just setting goals to breaking the goals into doable chunks. So you set the goals, you make the goals smart, and then you break them into doable chunks. And then after breaking them into doable chunks, you shift from that point to begin to measure how you are doing month on month, week after week, depending on what is convenient at that point in time. Okay? So today we have done just at a high level what you can do to manage and measure your own performance. We haven't gone into the deeper part of it because I will need to share some tools with you. Maybe in the next class or in the next free class, I will share a bit more around some of the tools that would help you get better in managing and measuring your performance. But understand that you need to set goals. Understand that you need to break them into doable chunks. Understand that you also need to start to measure as you drive those goals and celebrate quick wins as they come. Understand that you need to hold yourself and the people around you accountable for the kind of results that you want to see. Thank you. Somebody is asking, how do you manage your performance in a toxic work environment? A toxic work environment will do more to organizational politics. See, if in a toxic work environment, it's you drive your performance and you position yourself for the kind of success that you want to see, and you don't get yourself swallowed up in the organizational politics that you find within a toxic environment, you may be able to survive a toxic environment. So for those who were in CIPM when I spoke on Monday, I was talking about how culture eats strategy for breakfast. And I was saying to them there, when I spoke about organizational politics, I said one of the big reasons why we don't see results in organization is because the culture, which speaks to toxic work environments, eats up all our strategy, eats up all our performance goals, and makes us unable to drive the results we want to see. So sometimes you want to make performance happen in certain areas. Somebody goes to the back, meets the MD, or meets the people who have got voices in the organization, and they truncate the project, and you lose the grip you had on the project. And sometimes you begin to struggle. Those things happen in toxic work environments. But see, you need to understand that these are cultural issues, and you must realize that culture is something you cannot run away from in your organization. And politics is something that must happen in every organization. Don't shy away from politics. As much as possible, take advantage of the network within the organization to drive the kind of results that you want to see. Maybe when I do the talk on culture eating strategy for breakfast, we will talk more about the work environment and how we can navigate the toxic environment to drive the kind of results that we want to see. Thank you. Any other question? All right, in the absence of any further question, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who who've joined us here today, and you have listened to this. When I do the next session and the masterclass, I will be covering things like aligning your business and strategy together. I will do something around aligning your performance to business strategy. I will do something around how you enable performance through coaching for line managers. We'll look at the skill and will matrix, the 9-box grid. We'll talk about development planning, how you improve performance when performance has failed. We'll talk about the balance scorecard, and then case studies and videos and tools will be shared with the participants when that time comes. So until we come your way next time, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has spent time to listen to me today. We're grateful that you spent the time with us this evening. We will come your way with several other free sessions in the coming weeks. Look out for them and join us as they come. You have the evaluation form on the chat room. Please help us fill the evaluation forms in the chat room, and we'll get your feedback. If you want to get the slides, then let us know after you fill the evaluation forms, and we'll take it up from there. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening to me, and have a beautiful evening.